I'm Carl Anthony, and welcome to AutoSens, the world's leading community for ADAS and autonomous vehicle technology development. We create best-in-class events, training, and information to connect engineers, scientists, and automotive industry experts across the globe. Today, we are joined by Matt Everett, Product Line Director in the 3D Sensing Business Unit at Lumentum. And Matt, welcome to AutoSens, and glad you could be with us.
Thanks so much, Carl. Pleasure to be here.
So, Matt, for those who may be watching who may not be familiar with Lumentum or who may need a refresher, can you give us an overview of the company and tell us just a little bit about Lumentum?
Sure. Lumentum is a pretty well-known company, specifically in the telecom and datacom spaces. Perhaps less known in the sensing and depth perception areas, but over the past 10 years or so, we've introduced our 3D sensing products, and I reside in the 3D sensing business unit. And so we've built out a lot of those products and applications in our portfolio to address those needs as they've emerged from the market.
And so, keeping in line with that same thought, Matt, the needs that have emerged in the market, let's talk about the automotive market in particular. So can you tell us a little bit more about your automotive applications, especially things with in-cabin? Tell us what you're doing in the automotive market.
Sure. Yeah, the automotive market, you mentioned in the opening, ADAS and autonomous vehicles, very exciting space right now. As our customers and as the automotive industry starts to head towards autonomy and driverless vehicles, Lumentum is playing in these areas. We started our 3D sensing foray started into consumer products, short ranges, and that led very naturally and synergistically into shorter range applications like in-cabin driver monitoring systems and occupancy monitoring systems. And with our VCSEL technology, we've been able to take advantage of that and give customers some things that were lacking on the previous incumbent solutions. And then as the technology has improved, we've been able to play that into longer range applications like LiDAR on the exterior of the car as well, which is it's a nascent space, but it's a really exciting space with a lot of players and a lot of activity in the market that we see today.
Want to encourage all of our viewers to visit lumentum.com. On the homepage, a link here, the 5 most challenging use cases for in-cabin sensing was part of our AutoSens focus sessions, and that will expand more on what Matt is talking about here. Matt, you mentioned your customers, so let's transition here. Tell us about your customers, and then tell us about some of the biggest challenges that they're facing right now.
Yeah, so I'll focus on LiDAR a little bit. Our LiDAR customers are focused today on maturing the technology to achieve safety in vehicles. That's their primary and ultimate goal, particularly in those autonomous vehicles and autonomous machines, as well as in ADAS systems in passenger vehicles. So the ones that you and I drive today, the requirements are intense, particularly when we get to the level 4 and level 5 levels of autonomy where no driver or operator is present. But in the meantime, the key challenges that our customers are facing and asking us for are performance. So the size of the object that they need to detect at a certain range, the resolution of the system, the power that's required for the system, the size of the overall module, where they need to fit it in the car, and then ultimately cost. So those are the challenges that we see out there in this time.
Matt, from your vantage point, what do you think is next for the industry in, say, the next 5 years? As you know, there's a lot going on. There's autonomy, there's ADAS, but there's also electrification, software-defined cars, automakers pushing for carbon neutrality by 2050 or years ahead like that. So, Matt, in your mind, from your vantage point, what do you think is next here in, say, the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, Carl, I think you mentioned a couple big macro trends that we'll see: electrification and autonomous vehicles. Those will help to drive the deployment of some of the technologies like I've been talking about, the LiDAR systems on ADAS vehicles and autonomous vehicles, for instance. But over the next coming years, I do see the significant deployment. We'll see an exponential curve of deployment for those systems in the ADAS cars, the autonomous vehicles, robotic like last mile delivery will come on the scene, drones, and more. And it's important to note that LiDAR will be in addition to what's there today. So you might see today cars having radar and cameras and ultrasonic and other sensor modalities. LiDAR will be an addition to that, not a cannibalization. We'll also see consolidation in the space. I think I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of players in the LiDAR space today, and we'll see mergers and partnerships and acquisitions and different things happening there. And we'll also see, and where Lumentum comes into the picture, the continued evolution of the technology and the enabling of these technologies as the capabilities are realized with these new achievements. That will be very exciting. And one major trend that we'll see in the coming years is the elimination of moving parts in these systems. So today, a lot of these are done with moving parts, spinning mirrors, and so on. And that will move much more to a solid state solution over the coming years.
So, Matt, this might sound like a really obvious and elementary question, but still an important question nonetheless. You're talking about solid state, no moving parts. Why is that important? Why is it important to move off of the mechanical stuff and go to a solid state approach?
I think it's critical for a number of reasons, and it's no different than some of the other functions on the car that we've seen over the past 20, 30, 50 years, such as lighting. So if you look at the progression of LED lighting into headlamps and tail lamps, one of the key reasons that LEDs were sought out was to eliminate the leveling motors and the wipers that go on the cars. These are fundamentally questionable in terms of reliability and quality. And therefore they become a challenge, not to mention the fact that they're heavy. They provide weight to the car as well as additional cost. And we see all of those same elements being reflected here in the LiDAR space.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Matt, want to encourage all of our viewers to visit Lumentum.com. As far as things go for Lumentum, Matt, what are some of the most important milestones for the company, say, in the last year or so?
Okay. Yeah, and we've had quite a few. I can answer in terms of our LiDAR approach or the products that go into our LiDAR approach. I think one of the most significant milestones that we had is we were able to release the M series of high power multi-junction VCSEL products targeted specifically for LiDAR applications. That's, as you mentioned, our website has those products on now with some additional information, as well as some of the exciting breakthroughs and announcements that we've been able to do with some of our partners, such as the industry's first long-range LiDAR system with range over 200 meters, based entirely on VCSELs. That was a first in the industry, and that's the AT128 from Hesai that we announced jointly earlier this year. We look forward as we go forward towards further announcements with our partners and breakthroughs in the technology that we can use to enable this space as the industry matures.
Lumentum.com, the website. On the homepage, 5 most challenging use cases for in-cabin sensing. That was an AutoSens focus session. Also down on the homepage, sections that include news releases, events, as well as cloud and networking, advanced manufacturing, 3D sensing, a ton of great information just on the homepage here. So again, I want to encourage all of our viewers to visit Lumentum.com. Matt, from all of us here at AutoSens, we want to thank you for your time, your expertise, and for sharing your thought leadership. We look forward, of course, to seeing you in Brussels, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Carl. Pleasure.
For more in-depth interviews like this, subscribe to our AutoSense YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn. For more information on our world-class events and technical training, visit auto-sense.com. That's auto-sense.com. Ahead of meeting in Brussels and on behalf of AutoSense, I'm Carl Anthony.